Airbnb not keeping their backyard clean. I really, really dislike hotels. The reason I like Airbnb is I kind of feel a little bit like I got my own space. I'm not surrounded by a bunch of other like tourists and people coming in and out. You always have hotels with a bunch of tourist families and a bunch of kids screaming. You got to walk by the front desk. You got the maid coming by all the time, which I'm not really a big fan of. Like, I kind of like feeling like I got a little bit of a home. So I always do. And then also just the added fact that like, if you do like a weekly or a monthly stay, a lot of places will have some pretty good discounts. And so, I want to get, if I got to pay a certain amount to stay somewhere for a month, I want to get the most out of that. And so one of the things so I'm a huge advocate for Airbnbs, but one of the other things about that is putting up an Airbnb listing is not too difficult in general. And here in Vietnam, what you're gonna see is the first thing you're gonna notice when you go on Airbnb is you're gonna see a lot of duplicate listings. You're gonna see sometimes 4 or 5 listings in the same area that are all the same. You look at the photos and they're all the exact same photos of the exact same place. So there's a couple different ways that can go. One of them is, for whatever reason, they just set up a listing for the same place and maybe one of them's the one they're actually using and the other one's another one that they're not really using. And they just didn't delete it or hide it or whatever. One of the other things that's possible with that is if they have multiple listings, like you see several of the same one, a lot of times what it turns out is there's actually one more one that you didn't see because that's actually the real one and it's actually booked. Like the place is actually booked so you see the dates are available for like your travel period. And then you try to book it, you send them a request, and then for some reason they just decide and then they get back to you really late and they say, oh, the place isn't available. And you're like, well, the listing shows that it is available. So like, why are you showing us of it? Like, how hard is it to just, I have it? Like, part of the process of booking a place is making sure that other people aren't trying to book it. Like you would think that would just be like a basic common sense thing, but they don't do it. So that's and that one's like sort of somewhat innocent. It's just being incompetent. It's not necessarily malicious. But then some of the other things that I did notice is when you're trying to message a host at Airbnb or you're trying to book a reservation or anything like that, they don't get back to you until like 10 p.m. local time. I had that issue when I was in a place, it came as advertised. My host was very good at communicating, but like the photos of it, I wasn't expecting a lot, but it was still worse than I expected. I had only booked the place for 4 days with the intention of, I'm gonna book this place for a few days and I want to have a chance to explore. If you saw my video on Seminyak, you saw that like I ended up staying in an area that I didn't really care for. And that's kind of happened a couple times where I looked at the listing, I looked at Google Maps, I kind of did the little street view Google Maps, looked around the neighborhood, and then either the Google Maps was kind of out of date or my knowledge about it was out of date or something like that. But I basically ended up booking a place for an entire month. And I ended up just not really liking it. And I found another area that I liked a lot more. I ended up liking the place. I ended up finding somewhere in Bali that I really liked or in Jakarta that I really liked. But then I'm staying in an area that I don't like. And obviously you spend the most time in places you're actually staying in. So I decided I was going to switch it up a little bit. And when I went on Airbnb, what I saw was a bunch of places with open dates that were available. And so I'm like, all right, well, what I'll do is just book a place that for 4 days, kind of in a central area that ChatGPT recommended that I ended up deciding wasn't quite my taste. So I started exploring other areas in Hanoi that I was interested in staying at. And now that I was more familiar with the city, I knew different parts. Then I knew when I looked on Airbnb on the map, what the neighborhood was like. But then when I went to start booking places, then nobody was responding. Like all these Airbnb hosts were just, I was messaging them at maybe like 2 or 3 p.m. and nobody was getting back to me. And then right about 9, 10 p.m., everybody started getting back to me. So keep in mind that when you are trying to reserve an Airbnb, at least in Hanoi, I don't know about Ho Chi Minh, but at least in Hanoi, if you're doing it and time is a factor, expect the reply not to be until pretty late in the evening, their local time. So if that's a planning factor for you, communication for you may be somewhat strained. I would say this, I actually moved out of my second Airbnb that I moved in, excellent location. However, place was a little rough, I'll say. but I kind of expected it to be, but the location was amazing. But the thing that killed it for me was the internet routinely was having issues, and it almost seemed like it was just a spare room. It wasn't like the host had put any thought into, oh, there's someone staying there, so I may need to have it set up accordingly. So I didn't know what the internet was, and she would not reply to me until like the next morning. So I basically, like the first night I was there, I just sort of had to sit in the room with no Wi-Fi, which, I wanted to get some work done. I wanted to, be able to use my devices, and I couldn't do that, and she didn't want to reply. And then the next night, and then I finally got the internet from her after lots and lots of confusion. After me messaging her again the next morning, she finally sent it to me. And that was pretty much her only real attempt to do anything for me. After that, the next night, like with the internet situation, it was down for some reason. I never found out why. The network was out. And so I messaged her saying, hey, the internet's out, and I don't get a reply until like the next morning. And so I had to spend another night with, so basically the first 2 nights I had to go without any internet. And then that was when I was just, and then it was both times it would have been easily solvable if my host actually had any interest in responding to her guest, but she didn't. So I ended up looking for another place. I already kind of knew I wasn't going to stay there for very long, but I ended up leaving much sooner. Oh, another thing with her, I went in to change so a lot of times if I'm trying to change the thing, you can go in and you request to change dates. Well, I put in a change request. She read the request, didn't action it, didn't decline it, didn't accept it, didn't anything. She just read it and then whatever. And I said, hi, I need more privacy, and I need stable Wi-Fi so I can work. And she goes, I can't accept the request. The dates are locked for you. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? Like, do you not know how to accept the request? And she goes, I can't. I don't accept your change. But she didn't even actually go in and decline the change. She just ignored it. And then after a couple days, I messaged her, and that was when she kind of like started giving me some attitude. And then I just went in and then canceled it, got a partial refund, ended up already like part of it, I had already moved to a different place. So it was just like really, really bad communication, and like intentionally being like, there was an element of being malicious, because it was like, I had already moved out. I told her I wanted to move out, and she just decided, nope, I'm just going to ignore that. So that was a pretty bad experience. So what I would say is, for that particular issue, key takeaway is take a careful look at reviews. Don't book anywhere in Vietnam. Don't book any listings that don't have already a few reviews. Obviously, you got to go with what you can get, but like, it would be better to go to a place that like you think you probably won't like, but has 5 or 10 reviews, versus going to a place that looks perfect and has 0 reviews, because the place with 0 reviews probably doesn't exist, or they are such a bad host. The place is so not nice. There's some sort of issue where they got bad reviews, and they basically just made another listing that's blank. So in Vietnam, only stay at places with existing reviews, and that obviously, that sucks because everybody's got to be the first, but if you're watching this channel, don't be the first. And if you are, don't book more than a couple days. Again, you always got to work with what your options are, but like, if you got to stay at a place with no reviews, only book for a couple days, like 2 or 3 days, to check out the place, check out the area. If you do get scammed, you're only out a couple nights worth of whatever it is and some headache. Obviously, I'm telling you to do that as a last resort. But if you do have to do that, just a couple days. More Airbnb drama. One of the things that's very common, and in Vietnam, sometimes they try to do, is they will try to swap rooms on you. So you'll go into a listing, or you'll go into the listing, you'll book that, you've got your photos, you got all your stuff, you think you're good, and you got accepted, you did all your due diligence. And then as you're checking in, they give you some sort of issue. Oh, something's wrong with the plumbing, or the room's not ready, or whatever, but they'll feed you a line. But they'll say, oh, but I have another place that's an upgrade that's nearby. Someone I know recently experienced that, but they were trying to do this little con or whatever, try to swap him into a different room. And here's the thing about it. Like, these people are not con artists because they're so smart. They're typically con artists because they're kind of dumb, and they're kind of not able to have like a legitimate normal job. Now, that being said, don't underestimate them, because they have more reps it's this game than you do, so don't underestimate the scam artists. But that means also like, be aware that they can be mentally outmaneuvered somewhat easily. So you just have to be on your guard. So in this particular situation, they tried to run this room scam on a friend of mine, and the two guys that were doing it were not communicating with each other. So my friend went in, checked in, got the card key to the room that he was staying in, and went up to but still had all of his luggage back at the old place, the original, like he was already staying in another place. He had a key card. So basically, like, he showed up to check into the Airbnb, but like with none of his stuff. So he just got the key card, went up, looked at the room, said, this is the room I booked. I like it. Good, cool. And then went back about his day, going and hanging out with the plans of moving later. A couple hours later, the partner of one of the other guys that's running the Airbnb messages saying, hey, I'm so sorry, your room's not ready. I want to upgrade you to another room. It's got like a full bathtub, and made it like talked it up, made it sound like it was cool and it was better. You know, let me take a look. Shows up, meets the guy, gets the key card, and then they go up. He shows him the room. It wasn't an upgrade. It wasn't nicer. It was smaller. The other one had better furniture. Like, it was definitely a downgrade. And then he goes like, hey, I'm not staying here. Like, I want the room I booked. And which turned into a big kerfluffle. The guy had to go outside and get on the phone and call his boss and do whatever talk about whatever they were talking about. And then basically told him like, hey, okay. So then like the host told my friend, hey, okay, well then the room's not ready. And can you just stay here tonight in this room? And then tomorrow when the other room's ready, you can move in there. And then my friend was like, yeah, that sounds fine, whatever. Takes the card key. Also doesn't tell him he has the original card key. So at this point now he has both card keys to both rooms plus a card key to another place he was staying in. So technically he had 3 places this particular night. But all the while these guys are trying to play some sort of con game, they didn't know that at the time. And he didn't tell them like, oh yeah, I got this other card key, let me trade you. It was just like, oh, okay. Because it's like, when you can see someone's trying to mess with you, you're not gonna show your hand. You're not gonna give up leverage that you don't have to. He goes out, I meet up with him. He tells me all this story. We're like drinking in the little bar street. Gives me the background, tells me all the details, all the different stuff. And then the guy's like, oh yeah, so like moving, and he kind of tries to talk it back and tries to get him to go back into the main room. But it's like, yeah, I'm so sorry, but somebody else is staying in that place. And he was like, yeah, somebody checked in today. And then he goes, well, that was me. I was sitting right across from him when he was having this conversation, he was having this text message. And he goes, that was me. I'm the one that checked in. And he goes, what? Well, where's the card key? Did you put it back? And I go, and he's like, no, I have both card keys. And he goes, well, wait, no, you're not supposed to do it back. And all the while, this guy is like telling this, the Airbnb host is making it sound like someone else was, first it was someone has been staying there. Then it was, oh, they checked in after you got there. Oh, and then I was like, why do you have the card key? Oh, they put the card key back in the box for safekeeping. And it's like, all the while, my friend actually did leave a couple of water bottles in the fridge. That was the only thing he left in there. And so these guys, these Airbnb hosts are just totally playing themselves. I don't know how often they do this shit. I don't know how, like, if it ever works on other people, but it wasn't working on my buddy. And so basically they're running in circles, they're telling these lies, and then go figure, next day, my buddy texts me and he says, hey, I went into that place. My water bottles are still there. Like, nothing's changed. Clearly, no one has been in here since I originally got the key card. It was just an instance of, they tried to pull a con, they just didn't communicate very well. And then my buddies, ended up being able to stay in the place, and it was just no big deal. That being said, if you are ever in that situation where, again, I'm trying to give you stories and advice and anecdotes for best practices based on, a lot of experience. But the simple fact is, sometimes you have to have like non-optimal situations, last resort kind of situations. You got to make compromises. Everything's a trade-off. So if for some reason you do end up staying in a place where the host is trying to do something kind of sketchy, you're just going to have to kind of be cognizant of that. And it's like my buddy was like, hey, I can't meet up with you yet because the cleaning lady's coming by. After all the crap with them trying to switch around the cards and being caught lying and all this other BS, it's like, I'm not going to leave the cleaning lady, alone with all my stuff, because it's like, I don't know what the hell they're going to do. One little extra piece of that was a couple years ago, I was staying in Nha Trang, which is on the coast. And I was staying in a hotel. We were only there for a few days. There really wasn't any sense in trying to get an Airbnb. Left my stuff in there, obviously. And then while it was time to start, while it was, I was packing, I was looking everywhere. Obviously, as you're packing, one of the main things you're trying to locate is your passport. And I couldn't find the damn thing. And there was an element of like, I was, obviously like stressed out. I was like, well, where the hell's my passport? I'm in another country. I kind of need that. It's kind of a big deal. But at the same time, I was kind of like, I wonder if they just ripped it off. I wonder if the staff just sort of like helped themselves to it, and go figure. I'm trying to check out. I'm there with two of my other buddies. We're in line and I just go, hey, did anybody find my passport? And he goes, what's your name? And I tell him, and he goes, oh, and he just reaches into the desk and then just kind of like throws it in front of me. And I'm like, what? That was weird. Why did he knew exactly where it was. And he also kind of acted like it wasn't a big deal that they just had my passport that I didn't give them. And I was just like, well, I have it now. Obviously, if they were gonna do some sort of passport copying scam or whatever, the damage had already been done. I walked out with my passport. Obviously, I was not gonna go back there again. But, I guess I walked out unscathed. It's like, you gotta pick the things you're gonna be mad about. And I guess sharing this story on YouTube's about the only redemption I get. So anyway, that is something to be super cognizant of. Is in a lot of these countries, and it seems like I've encountered it at least once in Vietnam. I typically don't encounter it in a lot of places, but where you're packing, where you're keeping your stuff, be cognizant of that. If you can get like some kind of little zip up, kind of little lock or some kind of securing device, or at least hide the stuff, or just do the best you can to secure your super valuable stuff, like say a passport, extra cash. If you got like a little little external crypto wallet things, or something, it's like your valuables. Like all your little small stuff, like have a place that's like, it's just not obvious. I'm pretty sure that I actually left my passport out on the dresser next to my bed. So it was just like out in the open. That doesn't entitle them to fuck you over, but you gotta watch your back.